morning and welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show, joined by our friend Bill Humbert, the author of RecruiterGuy's Guide to Finding a Job. And this morning we were discussing the advantages of diversity hiring. Welcome back, sir. How are you?
I'm well, Chelsea.
Good.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. You had a great weekend. You and your wife were out. We spotted you. We spotted you out on Maine.
Yes, although I will tell you, Caitlin didn't recognize me this morning when I came in.
Right? I know. I bet you enjoy that, to trick people.
I do. There's people I say hi to and they go,
"What?" I hate it when that happens.
Who are you?
Yeah. But tell everyone how you were dressed up, to those who haven't seen the photos before.
We were Rudy and Ruby reindeer, and unfortunately we forgot our antlers.
Uh-oh.
So I guess I was a female reindeer.
You were a female reindeer. That could work too, I guess. Well, you and your wife had a great time this weekend. And did you see how far down we're dropping to, like 19 as a low by this Friday?
Really? No, I didn't catch that.
It's so chilly out there.
Wow.
But a lot of things happening this month as we move into the season. But the topic that we're discussing today is something that I feel like many organizations may have difficulty or an awkward time even addressing it, for that matter. It's diversity hiring, and this morning we're talking about the advantages of it. So to begin with, how do you define diversity? I think many might have a different concept of what that may be.
Sure. Well, it depends on, there's all the protected categories in terms of Equal Opportunity Commission. And they are race, religion, gender, age, handicap, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's about 10 or 12 or 13 of them. Mm-hmm. And if you hire only all of white women, for instance, and you don't have any males, then you may need to hire some males. Or if you're an organization that is totally white or Caucasian and you don't hire anybody that may be African American, Asian Pacific, Hispanic, so you have to take care and round out your staff with the different categories that are protected.
What is protected? What makes the group protected?
They're protected by the EEOC.
Okay. So they've defined what types of groups are. Right. Okay. So beyond that, how does a person from a different background, how do they benefit a company? What does that bring to the page when we address that at all?
Chelsea, we talked about the me growing up in Washington, D.C., and it's a very, very diverse area because of all the embassies, and it's a capital city in the world. And one of the ways I, for a long time, have told managers who were resistant to hiring people different from them is look at a problem as a cube. And all white males from Boston who are Irish Catholic are going to look at it from this direction, right? All white females that are Irish Catholic in Boston are going to look at it from this direction. All the people from the southern hemisphere, so Australia, New Zealand, Africa, South America, may be looking at it, males and females, from this direction. Northern hemisphere, the northern countries such as Northern Europe, and Canada, Siberia, they're all going to be looking at it from this direction, Asia Pacific, and so they're all looking at the same problem but from a different direction. And as a result of their different experience, they may be able to help a company solve a nagging problem in a totally new and different way that's far better than what's going on right now. It can be magical.
I like the representation of that. I think that helps explain well those benefits. And it's something that brings up a lot of questions, as we were discussing before, in many minds, those who are in favor of having a more diverse workforce, but they want to make sure that those applicants are still qualified. And for example, you speak of coming from the DC area, where automatically you have a larger pool to choose from depending on those diversities, whether it be ethnicity, race, or gender, or not gender for that matter. But the point being is that there's a lot more to choose from, and others who say maybe you're choosing in Utah, those maybe minority pools are much smaller, and so they may say, well, I don't have as many to there may not be as many qualified individuals, just for the fact that that population is smaller, a basic fact.
Right.
How do you address those issues when people are saying, well, I still want quality, but in favor of, like you said, having a more diverse workforce that could offer those opinions? How do you balance those two? That's hard.
It is hard. And we lived in Cedar Rapids, Iowa back in the early 90s, and it was 97% white Christian. And they have the same issue. And, you know, you just have to look at who is out there, what their background is. I'm with you in trying to select the best qualified candidate, but sometimes if a person comes in a really close second and they're coming from a diversity perspective, then maybe you want to hire them. You know, I've started recruiting in 1981, and I've seen the women who have benefited from Title IX in sports and in college and actually in high school. And as a result of learning to be teammates and team members, they've learned to collaborate as opposed to taking their Barbie and going home if they weren't happy. And back in the early 80s, there were very, very few women who were in the executive ranks. Now, it's not where it needs to be yet today, but we've certainly seen an improvement, and a large part of it has come as a result of diversity hiring.
So along with the difficulties, anything else that we need to know of? What will my company be faced with? What kind of difficulties as I seek to hire people from diverse backgrounds?
Well, if you don't seek to hire people from diverse backgrounds, what you may find is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission come knocking on your door and doing an audit. And trust me, you don't want that to happen. I ended up in Cedar Rapids right after they experienced one of those audits, and it lasted, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months. And HR was just
Right.
And so, you know, you don't want to face one of those audits. That's the negative side of diversity hiring, in my mind. I mean, it's important, but it's still, in my mind, it's a negative side. To me, I'd much rather focus that these people may have different ideas that can really move your company forward. Maybe if you want to break in more into the Hispanic market, you hire some Hispanics who can talk to you about the culture and the differences in the culture, and maybe we need to market to them a little differently than you know, the normal person in Salt Lake City.
Sure. So along with that, how does a diverse team impact the company's employer brand? What are some of those great things that we need to look out for?
Well, one of the things that's really super is that the potential candidates will look and as they're walking through the company, they're seeing people from different backgrounds. And if they're a diversity candidate, they're a lot more comfortable with your company already as welcoming people from diverse backgrounds. The other thing is, you know, in addition to them being able to help you solve problems differently, this is really important. You become more welcoming in your employment brand than if somebody comes through and all they see are white males. And being a white male, I can pick on white males. And so, you know, those are reasons why gender, age, you know, Microsoft had a knock against them for a while because they wouldn't hire anybody my age, you know, because it was a young company. And I don't know if they hire anybody my age now or not, but it doesn't matter. You know, if you have a wide range of experience in your company, then the people with seasoning are going to be able to train maybe some of the younger people based on their experience, even, you know, all the other things being equal.
Interesting. Is there anything else you want to add to what we need to be informed about when it comes to diversity hiring?
One thing that's really important is that if you do not have, you know, if you're all pretty much the same gender, age, everything, and you don't have any diversity, so if you're all white males and you're a company of 50 or more people, now you're going to start getting on the radar for EEOC and for one of those audits, and especially if your company is a government contractor. So it's really important for all the good reasons to hire people from diverse backgrounds, but once you hit 50 employees, now you have to start paying attention that way too.
Interesting. All right, and I know you mentioned you were going to have a blog up a little bit more about this. that
Yes,
has
I
more
will.
About this.
Yep. Once we get the YouTube feed, I'll include it in it, so you're going to be seen all over the United States and all over the world, and in our YouTube feed.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bill. And a reminder of where we can find out more about you and get in touch with you.
I'm on Google, and you can just Google Bill Humbert, Recruiter Guy, and you'll find me all over the place.
All right, and where can we find your book?
Look for it on Kindle, and it's only $2.99 on Kindle.
Excellent.
So a lot less expensive than going that route.
Sure, a great resource. And thank you, Bill. Nice to have you back here. It's always wonderful to see you at the beginning of every month. You're kind of like my mark for like, oh man, we're in a new month. This is crazy. I'm happy to see you, but it goes by quickly.
It does.
Doesn't it? It's strange.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for the information on the advantages of diversity hiring. We'll be right back after this commercial break. We have the YWCA discussing Real Women Run, a very fitting transition
Awesome.
there for what's happening this morning. We'll go on to that after this commercial break.